Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's take a walk and go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. Looky here, we got Hopslam, the 2017 edition of Hopslam. Guys, when I first reviewed this beer, I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. I thought it blowed my hair off and my socks off and everything else. So subsequent years that I've reviewed this beer, when I could get my hands on it, a lot of times it comes and goes the same day it shows up around here, and they limit you to 1 or 2 cans or whatever. Can't even get a 6-pack of it usually, and you got to be there or have your name on the list to get it, which is a bunch of horse shit as far as I'm concerned. Shouldn't have to stand in line or get on the list to get a damn beer. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why they don't want one person buy. If the store gets 5 cases and one guy comes in and buys all 5 cases, they want everybody to get a little bit of it. But you ought to be able to buy at least a 6-pack of it. Come on. It's not that good of a beer in my opinion. It was when the very first one I had, I was blown away. But the ones I've had up after that, not so much. And the one I did, the last one that I did, I thought it was getting back to that style. So we'll see what the 2017 edition brings. My brother Rico sent me 2 of these cans, and they're like 3 weeks old. I just got them the other day. He sent a note here. It says 2017 Bell's Hopslam, 10% Imperial IPA brewed with honey, 70 IBUs, featuring 6 different hop varieties added to the brew kettle, then dry hopped with a ton of Simcoe hops. And he said he bought a 6-pack of it, so he sent me 2 out of that 6. Like I said, the last time I tried to get it, they only wanted you to have 1. Limited to 1 can. 1 can. And I think I may have talked him into let me have 2 since I did beer reviews. I don't remember now. And I call it Hype Slam, because they've hyped this beer up so much and so many people have tried to get their hands on it that it's almost like a cult following on it. Like a lot of the other beers, some of the stuff like Russian River Pliny and the Alchemist Heady Topper and some of the Three Floyds beers, and there's so many of them that they produce so little of it, and there's such a demand for it that anybody that can get their hands on more than a can or 2 or a 6-pack, there are places that you let you buy a case or even more of it, depending on how much they get, or they don't care. They just want to sell the damn beer, be done with it. You know, if they got 5 cases, the guy wants 5 cases, we'll sell it all to him. It's gone. We ain't got none sitting on the shelf. So that's how some of them think. They're more interested in $1 than spreading the beer around and making sure that other people get to try it. So a lot of hype to go with this Hopslam. So, but we'll see. I haven't had this one yet. Like I said, unless you're on a list somewhere around here or at the store the day it shows up, and even sometimes if you're not on that list and it shows up, it's all spoken for already. It's sitting there waiting for people to come pick it up, and you can't get any of it. That's that much hype to go around this beer. So I do appreciate Rico being able to get a 6-pack of it and sending me 2 of them. So, but like I said, at one time I thought this was awesome, world class, galaxy class. Not so much anymore. So see if this one, the 2017 version, changes my mind any. I think Bell's produces some other beers that's just as tasty as this, without all the hype and all that to it. So, well, let's see where it goes. This one was packaged on January 16th of 2017, and today is the 4th of February. A couple weeks old. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this beer has not even showed up here in this part of Virginia yet. here I am reviewing it, and nobody here has even got it yet. Would not be surprised. I could probably call Martin out to barrel test. He says, no, he'd probably say, no, it ain't, I'm going to get it next week or the week after. I've got my order in on it. It hasn't showed up yet. It can get to these other states and be bought by the people and be shipped and set in my refrigerator for a day or two or three. And these guys around here still don't even have it. It's probably at the warehouse sitting there. Wouldn't be surprised at all if it's not setting up by and they ain't sent a single can of it out anywhere yet. Would not be surprised. That's how these clowns are around here. Alright, let's get on with this. This got a fairly long commercial description. Just a 10% brewed with honey, 70 IBUs, like I said. Commercial going to say starting with 6 different hop varieties added to the brew kettle and culminating with a massive dry hop addition of Simcoe hops. Bell's Hopslam possesses the most complex hopping schedule in the Bell's repertoire. Selected specifically because of their aromatic qualities, these Pacific Northwest varieties contribute a pungent blend of grapefruit, stone fruit, and floral notes. A generous malt bill and a solidly dollop of honey provide just enough body to keep a balance in check, resulting in a remarkable drinkable rendition of the double IPA style. A solid dollop? Is that one dollop for 10,000 gallons? How much honey are they putting in there, guys? And that's a fermentable sugar, so the yeast is eating most of that stuff up. So I don't know how much of that residual honey taste you're really going to get after the yeast has eaten it all up. So, just my 2 cents. I mean, they say, oh yeah, we put 1,000 gallons of honey in this, but the yeast ate every bit of it up. So, let's get on with it. That's all we need to talk about. So we're going to pop the top on this bad boy. Well, I tell you, the cuisine is barbecue. The cheese is peppery Monterey, pepper jack, sharp blue, cheddar. Stronger cheeses, Gorgonzola, Limburger, and the meat is game, grilled meat, and salmon. The glassware snifter, tulip oversized wine glass. I got my favorite snifter. And it says here, since it's at 10%, it can be cellared, but that'd be a stupid ass mistake. Don't do it. Just because it's 10%, the beer is going to keep, but the hops are going to fade, guys. I tell you this. I think I've told you this about 2,400 times now. Especially on the IPAs. Nice looking beer. It's got a very nice amber color. It's a richer amber color. Good finger of head on that pour. 2017 Hopslam. Let's see what he's got. Very nice sweetness to it. For all the hops they've used in this, I've had much hoppier beers. They ought to do an unfiltered version of this one year and put out the unfiltered version. Or a juice bomb like some of the guys at Trillium or Treehouse is doing. It looks like orange juice in the glass. It does have a nice sweetness to it. Maybe that's the honey. Yeah, maybe it is. But it's not overwhelming in the aroma, guys. It's really not. A hint of citrus in this. I'm not getting a huge pine or grapefruit or pineapple on the nose. Smells decent. So let's dive in and see what we got. Like I said, in my opinion, this beer varies a little bit from year to year as far as being boozy or not boozy or whatever. Let's see what 2017 brings. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. Strong bitterness there. Very nice citrusy note. Hint of some grapefruit. There is some sweetness there, but there's a strong bitterness to go with that. To me, it's a 10%. You got to remember, it's a 10%. So it does have a very strong bitterness, and it says it's 70 IBUs. Tastes stronger in the BD IBUs to me. For 10% beer, guys, it's decent. To be straight up honest with you, the beers that I've reviewed from Lucas, the last couple that we've done from him, from Other Half Brewing, we've done the All Citra Everything and the Double Mosaic Dream. To be straight up honest with you guys, I think that beer is better than this. I'll be straight up honest with you. And there's not a lot of hype to go with that beer. Of course, these guys are just now getting into the juice bombs over the last couple of years. And they are really working that hard. I'm just being as honest as I can with you. Decent beer, but it is definitely not worth all the hype that surrounds this beer. That's why I call it Hype Slam. Decent beer, don't get me wrong. It's a well-made beer. But for what I'm getting here, unless my mind changes as I sip on this, I'm probably going to go against the grade on this one. Now that I've been sampling and reviewing all these juice bombs coming from Trillium and Other Half and Treehouse and some of the other ones, there's Ohio and New England, a lot of people are, a lot of the breweries are getting into that style of beer, which is unfiltered and leaves a lot of that juicy pulpiness still in the beer. It's a very cloudy beer. A lot of people don't like cloudy beers, and I was in that crowd at one time. I didn't like a lot of junk floating around in my beer, especially this type of beer. And a lot of those guys have got that figured out, that there is not a lot of stuff floating around in the beer. And if it is, you can't see it because it's so cloudy. But, and what comes to mind to me is the heady topper. It tells you right on the can, and the focal banger, they drink it from the can. They don't want you to pour it in a glass and see all those particles or particulates floating around in there. Because a lot of times, when a beer gets old, it's a hoppy beer like this, the hops will coagulate and they will settle into the bottom of the bottle or the bottom of the can. And when you pour it in there, that breaks up and you got big chunks floating around in there. Not going to hurt you, but it just looks very, especially if it's a filtered beer and you got all those coagulates or particles floating around in your beer. So they don't want you to see that. That's why they say drink it from the can. I never drink it from the can or the bottle anymore. I want to pour it into a glass. I want to see what I'm drinking. I want to smell what I'm drinking. I want to release the carbonation by pouring it into the glass. That doesn't let you get filled up. Have you ever noticed when you're drinking a beer in a bar or something and you're drinking it from the can or the bottle, you burp a lot and then you got to run to the bathroom a lot. You're not releasing that carbonation, which bloats you up. It fills you up. It makes you feel like, oh man, I ain't had but one or two and it feels like I've had 5 or 6. You get bloated because that carbonation is in your stomach, and if you just it's still, you're bloated. I mean, you got all that carbonation inside of you. But pouring it into a glass, you're releasing that, and the more aggressive you pour it, the more carbonation is released. That's why if you pour it directly down the center or in a chilled glass, you'll get 3, 4, 5 fingers of head or more, because you're releasing that carbonation, and that's what you want to do. Especially if you want to smell the beer and see the beer. And you won't get filled up as much. So that's why I do it. That's why I do it. I always pour it in a glass now. Unless I'm at somewhere and they don't have glasses, or somebody's got it in a cooler and you're taking it. But even then, if I've got my vehicle with me, I've got a glass or a cup or something to pour it in. Trust me, even on the motorcycle, I carry cups and stuff. I don't carry glasses, but I carry red Solo cups or something, or some kind of cup, insulated cup, to pour it in. I might not be able to see it in that cup, but I'm releasing the carbonation. So, well, we're going to sip on it for a little bit and see where we end up, but I can pretty much tell you right now, this is not a 10 beer to me. A lot of people disagree with that, but I'm just being honest. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Got this a little. This is a well-made beer, guys. I will tell you that. It doesn't seem to be as boozy as previous versions that I've had. Seems to be very well made. The 10%. Now remember, it's a 10% beer now, brewed with honey. I am getting a nice sweetness off of that. But also, I just want to remind you, they're putting honey in this beer, and honey is a fermentable sugar. So the yeast eats that up. I mean, it makes more alcohol. there is some sweetness to this beer from the residual effect of that. But usually, unless you're putting lactose or something like that in the beer, and a lot of that's used in the stouts and stuff, it's going to be a very dry beer. Because I've experienced that brewing big ABV beers here and not using lactose. It tends to be very dry, which is a good thing a lot of times. If it's dry, you take a drink, I'm still thirsty. You take another drink, you drink more of it. That's the bottom line there, because it's a dry tasting beer. I do think this is an 8 beer, but I do not think it's a 10 beer, guys. I do not. And I'm going against the grain on this because a lot of people follow this beer and crave this beer and trade for this beer and stand in line for this beer and get all and grab all they can get their hands on. I'm not in that crowd. I do think it's a good beer. But with the juice bombs that's being produced nowadays, it's not all of that. It doesn't live up to the hype that goes along with this beer anymore. There are better beers being produced for less money without all the hype and all that stuff. Granted, a lot of these beers like Trillium and Treehouse, you have to get them at the brewery because they don't go into to the stores or don't have a retail outlet or sell everything they produce at the brewery. They don't have to worry about that part, and good for them. That's a lot less hassle they have to deal with. And everybody gets everything super fresh, and they sell it all right there. So a lot of them don't even put dates on it anymore because it all leaves the brewery. It doesn't sit on the shelf because it doesn't get to the shelf. So that's one reason why they think, well, we don't need a dating machine. We sell everything right out the door here, and it doesn't go to the store. So another reason why those guys don't worry about dating machines. But I do think it needs a date in case somebody buys it and trades it, and it's, you find time you get around to getting your hands on it, you traded for it, it's 4, 6, or longer in age, 8 months, 12 months old. And you don't have any idea unless you follow them closely and know when it was released and produced. So, good beer though. I will say it's a good beer. I'm not taking anything away from Bell's on this. This is probably their flagship double IPA. And they only produce it once a year and everybody clamors over it. And I was in that crowd a long time ago, not anymore. Like I said, this is fairly tasty. I've had some versions that were very, very boozy. This does not seem to be. So, this is more in line with probably the first one that I had. Very, very tasty. If I hadn't had any of these juice bombs that are available now, I would probably think this is a world-class beer. But now that those beers are being produced and I've had them, it's kind of ruined my palate a little bit because I know what's available and can be done. So the guys that haven't had those juice bombs, if they can get their hands on this, they probably think this is still a 10 beer, outstanding A+, and I ain't never had anything better. I have. Final chug. It does not have the aromatics, aromas that these juice bombs have. Even the Stone and Joy By has a lot more hoppy presence, and it's an unfiltered beer at only 9%. So I would choose that over this, and nobody's standing in line to get those as much as they are this. Guys, I do think it's a well-made beer. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not worth all the hype that goes with it. I'm gonna give this a minus. I'm gonna give this the 8. Numeric rate on this, guys. Like I said, I'm going against the grade. I'm just telling you straight up. 90. That's where I would put this beer. 90. It is an 8 beer, very well made. Let's go over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate has it at 98, world class. At one time, I would agree with that. I probably even would disagree, saying it's better than that. Now, not so much. All right, Rate Beer has it at 100 overall and 100 in the style. Definitely not going there. Definitely not going there. And this is a pricey beer too. On top of that, they release it in limited editions to keep the production low and to make it hard to get. Otherwise, they would produce it a couple times a year, and they would increase production of it to let more people have it and bring the price down. They like charging $4 or $5 a can for this. That's more money in their pocket. That's why they do it. That's why they do it. Alright, for our final check-in, Untapped has it at 4.36, which is in their A category. Not their top of the line. I mean, I would consider that grade an A, right down the middle of the road. And if you tell me, oh my God, that's a 10 beer, you're crazy. I'm not going to argue with that. If you've not had a juice bomb from one of these other people, like Trillium or Treehouse, or some of the others that produce those, even Other Half, I think that's who it is, that Lucas is sending me, you probably not had anything better. It probably is going to blow your hair off or your socks off or anything like that. But I have, and there are better produced Imperial IPAs in my personal opinion. It's just my opinion. So that's where we're going to leave it. It is an A beer, guys. Well made. Alcohol is very well hidden this year on the 2017 edition, where I've had some boozier ones. Enjoyable. Whether I would stand in line to get it or go in and I can only buy 1 can or 2 and pay a premium price for this, not so sure that I would do that. And I don't think Rico told me what he paid for a 6-pack of this. No, he did not. But I got a feeling, and different states are different. And like I told you earlier, I probably could call Martin out to Barrel Chest, and I'd be damn surprised if he's even got this in his store yet. I would be very surprised if he's got it already. He'll probably tell me, oh no, it's coming in next week or the week after, and yeah, you want to get on the list? No, I don't want to get on the list. I absolutely do not want to get on the list to get 1 or 2 cans of it and pay $5 a pop or $4 something for it a pop. No, I don't. So, good beer, decent beer, an A beer, but not a world-class beer as far as I'm concerned anymore. I would like to try or see them do an unfiltered version of this. That might change my mind a little bit, but still going to have all that. And Stone is doing that. They're producing some of their IPAs or double IPAs and the unfiltered versions of them. So that's going to become more and more popular, guys. I really believe that. More and more people or breweries are jumping on that bandwagon. So that's where we're going to leave it. I don't want this to be a super long video. It probably is already because I've been flapping my gums. If you've had this 2017 edition of this, let me know what you think, guys. Come on back tomorrow. Let's dig something out of the fridge. See you then.